What's up, everybody? So we are here in Salt Lake City with Sean and Rachel behind me here. So we're going to be exploring downtown. I'll let Sean sort of talk about what he's doing. Here you go. This is the microphone. You can hold it.
So we're going to check out Temple Square. Looks like they're having service, so hopefully they're not too disruptive. And we're going to check out some of the streetscapes around the downtown area. And then ultimately we're going to meet up with Geoff for brunch somewhere else downtown. And it should be tasty.
Yeah, so Geoff, he's a friend of ours that we play video games with that I have never met and Becca's never met. Sean has a couple times now that he lives in the area here. So we're going to go explore, try to take some pictures and videos, and we'll see you guys at brunch. What's up, everybody? We are here at Gracie's in downtown Salt Lake. This is Jeff behind me. Again, we had never met him before until now, so it's pretty cool meeting people from online in real life. We're all hanging out here, just eating some brunch, and then what are we doing after this? Just walking around? Walking around. Oh yeah, we're gonna go gift shopping for Rachel, and then at some point we might get second lunch, sort of, before we head to the airport. So yeah, Sean has recommended us going to Cup Bop, which is like Korean snack food almost, in like a cup. And Becca loves Korean food, so she's super pumped for that. So we'll catch you guys probably over there or sometime at the airport. What's going on, everybody? So Becca and I are here at the Salt Lake City International Airport now, and we figured before we board our flight in about an hour or so, we will sort of go over a summary of our trip so far. What do you think? Sound good to you?
Great.
Great. So Becca and I were able to sort of add up how much we drove and how much we hiked over the course of the week-long plus trip that we took. So Becca, you have on your phone, what was our total miles driven for the trip?
1,734.
All right, so that was a pretty hefty amount of driving. The biggest spans were definitely just as we were going from one city to the next. And then even like from Page, for example, when we were in Page, Arizona, we still had to drive for like an hour and a half to the Grand Canyon, either the north or the south rim. So there was a lot of driving involved. And then also we were able to figure out how much we hiked. So what was that total?
59.61 miles.
Yep, and that includes today. So we actually walked 4 miles while we were hanging out in Salt Lake City with Sean. So we did a lot of walking, most of which was hiking through some moderately difficult trails, but it was a lot of fun. So I guess, Becca, what would you say from our entire trip, what was your favorite national park? Or I guess, but what was your favorite park that we visited?
Bryce.
Why?
Because it was pretty.
Okay. So she liked Bryce Canyon because it was pretty. I would agree with that. So I don't think I mentioned it in our summary between Zion and Bryce when we were sort of comparing the two. I think Zion is a great park for people looking to do hikes and different things like that, because there are a ton of hikes. Like you could walk into the river in the Narrows. You can do Angel's Landing if you're really feeling adventurous, to go up a pretty strenuous and dangerous looking hike, I guess. I don't think it's terribly dangerous if you know what you're doing, but Bryce for sure was way easier to take pictures of. I thought it was very, very pretty. The hikes were still strenuous and enjoyable, but I think there was more to do in Zion, which is why I think a lot of people spend more than just a day there. I think we covered a good amount of ground at Bryce just with the one day. So for me, my favorite park was probably, I'm sort of torn between Arches and Zion because I enjoyed the hiking at Zion a lot. I liked all of the trails we did. I thought we had some really fun trails at Arches as well. And Arches was a little more photographic, I thought. Becca, what was your favorite moment of the trip?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
Oh, when you fell in the river.
Yeah, that was a pretty memorable experience. It's just like, I'm so sad about my Osmo though. It's still 100% dead. I thought maybe it was going to come back to life, but unfortunately, it just sort of died out and didn't. I tried charging it up, but it just started overheating, and I was like, I'm not going to leave this plugged in overnight or anything because it might just spontaneously combust. So I am sad to say that the Osmo is gone. So I'm vlogging now with just the Sony cameras again, but it's worked out decently well. I would say my favorite moment of the trip was I enjoyed watching Becca struggle on these, either the delicate arch hike or even the Aztec Butte hike. That was a lot of fun too. I liked both of those hikes, and Becca was a huge struggle bus on both of those. So, but she's afraid of heights, and she tackled those fears. So you did it. High five. Yes. So, if you were to come back, Becca, which park do you think? Is there any? I guess okay. So, which was your like least favorite of the bunch that you probably wouldn't go back to or anything like that?
Maybe Monument Valley.
Really? That was sort of a one and done for you? I thought it was cool. I really liked driving through Monument Valley. But I guess I would say that, I've seen it. I definitely don't need to go back. Maybe if I was with Lisa, who hasn't been, I would be fine with going again. For me, my biggest disappointment of the trip was probably Horseshoe Bend, maybe. Just because it's very pretty, but it's definitely a one and done thing. And the hike to get there is just, it's not even fun. It's just you have to do it. Like a lot of the hikes that we did we did more strenuous hikes for sure, and they were actually like nice trails. Even like the delicate arch hike, which didn't have much shade. If you did it in the heat of summer, that could be challenging. But I think there's still enough scenery to see. Whereas the hike over to Horseshoe Bend is just basically going up almost like a sand dune, going back down to see the bend. There's just a lot of people there as well, and it's just like you take a couple pictures there, and it's really pretty. But that's sort of a one and done for me. I don't really see a huge need to go back, and you have to pay $10 just to get in. So that's sort of a one and done for me, I thought. Which was your favorite hike, I guess? That's something, I sort of talked about that with my favorite parks, but which hike did you like the best?
The one in Bryce.
The one in Bryce. Why? Just because it was pretty?
Because it went through a lot of different things over the same hike.
That's true. It did have a really big change in like scenery, because you go from like the mountains sort of in the canyon, and then you get down to the bottom of the loop that we did, and you sort of see the forest, and there's a lot of wildlife down there. And then you go back up. That Wall Street section was extremely tough, but it was enjoyable. You feel rewarded afterwards. My favorite hike was probably still the Delicate Arch hike was fun, but I actually was pleasantly surprised with that Aztec Butte hike. I thought that was actually a lot of fun. It wasn't one that we were originally planning on doing, because it wasn't one of the like, oh, these are the best hikes to do in Canyonlands, but the park ranger recommended to us after he gave us 3 others first. He's like, these are the 3 most popular. They'll give you great views down into the canyon. And I was like, what if you had time for a 4th one? What would you do? And he's like, maybe Aztec Butte. That one's pretty fun. You can see the granaries. And I thought that hike was a lot of fun as well. So do you have any final thoughts, Becca? Would you go back out west again to do any hiking / exploring of national parks, or are your legs just saying never again?
Not back to the same ones.
Okay, yeah, true. But you would still do like a hiking trip then?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely as well. I would do a lot of these parks again, even, especially if Lisa wanted to go. Now Lisa doesn't really like hiking, so I can't foresee that happening again in the near future. But I enjoyed hiking a lot. It's not something I'm gonna dive headlong into. Becca almost did that. She bought hiking poles. How much did you use those?
Twice.
And she almost bought super expensive ones. But I told her, I was like, just get some cheap ones off Amazon, see if you even like them, if you're gonna use them before doing that. But do you have any tips, I guess, that you would give to anybody who's looking to do a trip like this?
Be prepared.
Yeah. I thought we were fairly prepared for the trip, especially Becca, because she came, she has her headlamp, she had the nice sun hat ready to go, and I knew it was I should probably get a headlamp or a flashlight, and I had a flashlight ready, but I totally forgot to pack it, so I had to buy a headlamp after the first... Yeah. Oh yeah, and I had a water bottle. I forgot to pack my water bottle, that's incredibly dumb. So I bought a water bottle. Well, when we get to Zion, first thing is like I'm buying a water bottle. Then we get out and we're doing the hikes, and then we do the first night of hiking. We get down and I'm like, oh, it's really late, it's getting dark, and Becca actually has her headlamp so she can see in front of her, but as she's passing and the shadows disappear, I'm like, I can't see these stairs anymore. So I had to buy a headlamp the first night as well. And then you probably can't see in the video too well, but both Becca and I got sunburned throughout the week, so we needed sunscreen. So Becca bought us some sunscreen that we could use throughout the trip. And the other thing is, we would put it on our faces, and like my arms got burned because I didn't even think about putting it on my arms, and I had to put it on my neck, and I had like the tops of my ears got sunburned. It's just really, just make sure you're covering everything with sunscreen when you're out. And we're here in the off season, which I would highly recommend because it's quite cool especially at night. It was cold at night, but it was like what, 80s or so? 70s, 80s. Like the first day we got to Zion, it was pretty warm. I think it was a high of 80 something, but then immediately after that it dropped down like 10 degrees and we were in the 70s. So we would start our hikes in the mornings with our jackets on, and then as the day went by it would warm up, we'd take those off. So make sure to bring layers if you're coming at this time of the year. But what did you think? Did you think this is pretty much like the prime time to go, I thought, right? Yeah, it's not too hot. I don't know why summer season is like the prime hiking season. I guess maybe if you're going with your family and your kids are in school, then they're out of school in the summer and that's why you go. But we both had to take time off from our jobs in order to come out here. So I would have rather come out now anyway because it's just cooler and temperature-wise, so we weren't getting too burned. But even with that in mind, make sure you do come prepared. Another thing I needed was chapstick. So being out in the East Coast, it's extremely humid, especially in Georgia. It's really dry out here, both in Arizona and in Utah, so I had to get chapstick right away as well. My lips are still dry right now because I left my chapstick in the rental car when we dropped it off. But yeah, so any final thoughts for you, Becca, for the trip?
I'm tired. My muscles are.
I actually feel pretty good. I could keep going another week with this, but Becca is exhausted. You could tell I'm out of shape, but Becca might not look it, but she doesn't do much exercise or anything either. So both of us are really not in shape, but I mean, if we could do it, then anyone could do it. It's definitely a trip I would highly recommend if you like the idea of getting out in nature and doing some hiking. And if you're a photographer as well, like I'm trying to do, you can get some great pictures and stuff. Especially if you want to try astrophotography, it's amazing just seeing the sky at night. There's so many stars. You can see the Milky Way with your naked eye, and it's really pretty. So that's going to be it for our trip now. Thank you guys all so much for watching this series of TQM Travels, and we'll catch you guys on the next adventure. Cheers.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to TQM Vlog.
Well, okay, start over. Good afternoon. That's the evening now.
Hard to see from the moment we arrived.
Okay, I have to do some stuff around. Okay. All right, everybody.
Cornelia, you are one who will survive. When time's been bad, you put smiles on everyone. Think of you and of all I should have done. You told me the thing would shape or form that you're in, the place you're from, the wealth or the color of your skin.
Or if we're gonna try to go into the canyon a little bit to try to get
burns to the sky. It's all too late. You wonder why.
That was amazing. I could do that. Your Vanna White again, okay? That was so good.
Your every day is a struggle and a strife. But don't you agree?
record that ending part, but I didn't want to record it as we're in this traffic circle. I felt like that would have been a questionable decision.
All you have is who you love. And Cornelia, you'll be all I'm thinking of. You told me the thing would shape or form that you're in. The place you're from.
There's very short hikes to both, so it's pretty easy to do. I'd say as I almost drip and die.
Burns to the sky, it's all too late, and you wonder why. Cornelia.
Is it recording right now? Is this the best recording you've ever seen?